All right. How we doing? We're doing well. Hope we had a good break. Some of us probably, I'm just messing around with my mic. Some of us probably had slightly longer breaks than others, but that's okay. We're all adults. Right. So Priya shared that she was feeling pretty tired. That's mental fatigue. I get it. It happens all the time. And if you're not getting it, it means that you're not trying. Pretty simple. It's like going to the gym. When you go to the gym, you it's horrible the first time. You go for 2 weeks, you change your diet, all that sort of stuff, and then you start to realize that you're not seeing any gains and you're spinning the wheels. But really what's happening is like underneath the surface, your body, that composition, all of that stuff inside is actually changing. And that's what's happening to you right now. And you're feeling tired, you're feeling fatigued, you're going like, oh, do I really want to keep doing this? Might take a day off. I took yesterday. I didn't take yesterday off, but I was really tired. I've just had some challenges personally, as we all do, and it's just about turning up. So what I've got here is I've got my dashboard or my Notion page. And I just want to quickly show you the journey and what it's been like. So whenever I do a video, and the reason that I do videos is that I want to get to YouTube. And these videos, when I say to people, you know, study for execution, the reason that I say study for execution is because there are little nuggets that are just dropped all over the place. It's not about doing the thing, it's about watching what they're doing and how they're saying it and why they're saying it. But I'm being totally just, there's nothing to hide here. So I did the sprints because I felt lonely. I wanted to create community. I wanted to run with people and I wanted to just have a sense of just being part of something for a short period of time. Every time I stopped in between the sprints, it's like oh, like you've just finished this event, and then people would stop, and then you'd wait until the next start up, and this kept going. But when you realize what Cole and Dickie were doing, they were constantly writing, they were constantly producing content, and they were constantly working on how do you build this thing in the background? How do you then build going from ship 30 into the captain's table, which has now turned into a premium ghostwriting academy? And it's not the marathon sprints in between. It's the stuff in between that's going to get you to the next level. So that's why I say keep writing. And when I do these sprints, it's stressful for me because now I've got you guys kind of like looking at me. I'll share some other insights as well. So some of you've probably got messages from me every once in a while. You get like these one-to-ones. I do that as for two reasons. One, value add to newer people getting into this. And two, just to see what they're saying and just to see if they'll actually take the action on what I'm actually suggesting. And when they do, I've noticed that certain people start to build a level of confidence. They start to change their content strategy. They tend to, something happens. You just start to see it. And initially I was like, who am I to be saying to this person that you should be doing that? But if you look at the concept of what Ship 30 for 30 is, every framework that they've got breaks down how you build authority in the market. So you think about the 2-year test. Some of you are relatively new to this whole writing thing online. So I'm showing you what I've done and what I'm doing now, and I'm accelerating your growth by showing you that. And then I'm dropping all these little tidbits around saying, oh, this is what the algorithm does. Oh, this is, be careful of that creator or see what they're saying and blah, 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 blah. I wouldn't do a newsletter unless you're going to do blah, 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 blah. That's all very true, but I'm still working out how to build my business. And what you're seeing me building in public. And these videos are a testament to that. Now, I've told you all that you should share on Teller and record these videos because not everyone's going to watch. But when you do these videos, you become more confident, you have more presence, and you're not worried about going, oh, I'm going to sound like an idiot, blah, 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 blah. I'm literally looking into myself. I'm looking at a teleprompter right here. I've got my telescreen here. I'm sharing my screen. And what I've done here, just for a workflow now, typically this is what the workflow would look like. I log in and then you sort of see all these beautiful images and I'd go new and then one of these would pop up. But instead, what I did was I had a chat with Clive and we talked about what if we followed a particular rhythm or framework to our content. And 𝗤𝗲𝗍𝗂, he shared something, so I'll share that. And he basically says, if you follow this framework of having, 7 days worth of content, one is growth, two is, so growth is like, what am I reading? What am I learning? Two is like how to grow your audienceship or whatever, solve the problem. In the, Wednesday would be what it's like to work with me. It would be, again, growth, solving a problem. Friday might be something fun. Saturday might be just something completely random, like some sort of carousel. And then Sunday, whatever. But you just have this framework. So I thought, shared that with Clive. Came back and I thought, well, what if I did that here? So I've got 30 templates here and I just went bang, 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 bang. And then as you can see, what I've done over a period of time is my Notion board starts to have more metadata in here. So you'll see that if I click new, right, and I hit my template here, post, but if I'm in sprint mode, it's got sprint title, post title. So if I hit sprint, what'll happen is the only thing that's different is that little boat emoji comes out. If I do that again, if I go post title, the little green X comes out. That's it. On top of that, the other things that I do is now that I've actually added this little red icon, and the reason that it's red is saying you need to write something. It's just looking at me blank. And then I started to put some of these images in. Talking about images. Okay. So I've got this pet hate for carousels because I had this horrible experience where I had to create a carousel when I thought I was being shadow banned. And what had happened was, I think I may have told the story. Clive had suggested that I do a post and I share everything, like what the concern is, etc. So I did that, and that carousel lives here in my documents on my profile. And that is, where is it? It is, I think it's called, there is no alternative. Here it is. And so it's not that one, this one. So what happened was I thought I was being shadow banned. And shadow ban is when the algorithm goes a bit spammy, we think you're a bit dodgy, we're going to reduce your reach, etc. Lo and behold, that wasn't the case. Everybody was going through it. And we had this conversation. And then I had to create. And then so Clive says, why don't you create a post? Because he asked me, so what are you going to do? And I said, well, there's no alternative. You got to keep posting. And then he comes up with Tina, and then, Vernon and Aid start pinging back and forth. And so lo and behold, this piece of content is generated. And if you have a look at it, it's okay. It's very kind of creator-ish. I'd only done a handful of carousels before, and I kind of go through this whole how I build and stuff like that. And it was a horrible experience because there's just so much work going into this. So much work. I actually might put this back up and redo it. So coming up to this sprint, before it started, Clive threw down the gauntlet and said, well, why don't we do this? And I went, okay. So back into my Canva. So here in Canva, some of my current last posts I've actually repurposed. And the whole goal is to show people, when you work with me, you are going to get some beautiful assets. These assets will have infinite ROI because you will be able to repurpose these assets. And busy executives, busy go-to-market sales people, they don't have time to be producing heaps of content. They just don't have time. But what they do have is they have the ability to re-message certain things or to reiterate and change. And how you do that is if you have beautiful assets like this, sort of tooting my own horn there, you get to reuse these. So you can see these are tiles inside my tiles. And I'm now setting up. So what you're seeing here, I've copied, and I keep, adding because I'm trying to work out, what do I like? What am I proud of? The other thing, even before I get to this, the repurposing, I've been on this journey to try and get my messaging down, and my messaging and my positioning. And I talk a lot about that I have in this sprint and towards the end of leading up to this sprint was about executive content, and I've framed it as micro thought leadership. The reason that I've done that is because of the books and the content that I've been reading and thinking, you know, all businesses want to get behind something, but they need to frame it and they need to have a story on how they're going to go to market with it. And so if I'm going to go to market and go approach high growth SaaS companies, high growth agencies, creative agencies, system integrators, stuff like that, I've got to have a story. I've got to have a narrative. I've got to have messaging. And that messaging comes back to my content, and the content has to basically resonate with what I'm doing. And so like when you keep writing, you get better and better and better, and then you research. And so like I research a lot of stuff, and I read a lot of stuff as well. And so you can see I've got heaps of the same because I'm just working, you know, should it be a little bit darker? Should it be a little bit light? And I'm trying to, that's the level of just torture I put myself through to try and get this, you know, there's a level of perfectionism, which I've got to kill. So all of these, but then as I start to produce this carousel, it's painful because I'm like, how do I get to a point where, how do I get out of this view? How do I get to a point where I can do it really quickly? And here's the deal. Here's the deal. You're never going to do anything quickly the first time you do it because it's going to be painful. And what you're doing now in this 30-day sprint is you're setting up the foundation for the next 30-day sprint and the next 30-day sprint and the next 30-day sprint. And what'll happen is you'll start to create more content, your messaging will get better. And if you take the time to understand how social works, so if you understand how social works, so do you know how echo chambers are formed? Do you know how to get your content into somebody's feed if you are in an echo chamber? Do you know how to socially sell? Do you know how to value comment? Do you know how to pre-qualify somebody via DMing? Do you use email? Do you use SMS? Do you call? Like, there's all this stuff that, you know, the AI and content bros don't tell you because it's complex. And so I'm telling you all of this so that you understand that this is a journey. It's not one and done. And if you're feeling tired, good. It's good that you're feeling tired because it means you're doing the work. You are increasing your neuroplasticity. And that's something that I read the other day. Like I've known about neuroplasticity, but I just needed to understand the language. And so I was like, of course, because you're going to stretch. So here's another insight. When I post, right? When I go, hey, you know, 30, whatever it is, and you know, here, I don't get a lot of love. I don't get people going thumbs up, that's amazing, blah, blah, blah. Initially, when that happened in the sprints, I was like, oh, F you, all of you. But now, it's not the point. The point is that you guys are talking in the chat. And here's the deal. I don't want feedback unless it's like cold-hearted, hey, that was good, this is what you should have done. And I want it from the lens of if you were my ICP. Not like, hey, this is a subjective feedback, blah, 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 blah. It's like, what does your ICP want to see? And that's the most important thing, because without that constructive feedback, the feedback is useless. We're not here to, yes, we're here to support each other, but ultimately we're here to build a brand, a presence. We're here to gather attention. We're here to content, thought leadership, so that we can build a position and a business in the market. A couple of sprints ago, somebody had said, hey, you know, I posted this, but I didn't want to make it sound too salesy. And I came back really quickly and I said, what are you talking about? We are here to gather interest, attention, and to provide a service. And if you are not going to if you're not going to sell something, then don't post. And if you're going to post, then have a clear CTA. But if you don't have a clear CTA, that's okay. But don't be wishy-washy about, I don't want to be salesy and stuff like that. Have a clear position on what this piece of content is trying to do. So coming back to that, if the quality is high, you then get to create wonderful pieces of content that is in line with your brand, that is in line with what you're trying to do. And you will then have all of these assets, and you can see I've got naming conventions here as well. Draft XXXXX, and I've just like recopied this stuff. Draft. Like you can see it. Reference, drop image here. Michael Jordan not finished. Like these are all the images. The orange, when I've got posted, if it's red, all done. It means that I've actually completed the back page, this here. And the reason that I have this here was I did this for a client. And then I thought, this is kind of a nice document. What if I use this as part of my content? So I did that. So when I finish a piece of content, if it's got a red posted, it means the whole thing is ready. I can repurpose this. I've got the back document, the content brief done, or the content summary done. If it's orange, it means that I haven't completed the back. So you can see here on this one, which I did the other day, it's all red. That's why it's orange. And then here in my notes, I've got the Notion board. So here we go. So here, what I would normally do, and everything is linked, right? It didn't start this way, but everything is linked. So looking here, if I go here, finding your content is a nightmare, right? So you want to be able to get to it really, really quickly. So where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? See, I'm having to scroll. Here it is. Here it is. So if I look at this, here's the content. There's a couple of ways to get the short links as well. So if I go view analytics, it'll open up to the post on the back end, and it shows you the reactions, the comments, you know, the reach. This here is really, really important. Is this reaching your demographic? Is this reaching the right type of people? I want to be reaching chief executive officers, founders, and this is the percentage of people that I want to be, this is who I want to be reaching. And of that, the type of it is between the 50 to 10,000, that there. Ideally the 50 to 1,000 would be my ideal target market. Then it shows you the regions. So obviously my content is hitting 31%, but it doesn't break this down. LinkedIn doesn't give you who's looking and what. And then here down here, seniority, CXO, director, manager. So 20%, roughly 22%, my content is reaching the right people. But is it in the 11 to 50, the 1 to 10, or this? I don't know. But this is giving me some level of insight. And so, do you understand how the tool works? Do you understand? Because this is not just, hey, look at me, come and. You want to be able to be data driven on this back end. And this was not the case for me when I first started. So getting back to the content. So here's this particular post. If I go show more, the link is now shortened. This is the short link. So Control C, and I'm going to go back in here. And what I typically do is I'll have the LinkedIn link, and I'll have the Notion link because I'm in Canva. So if I'm in here and I go, oh, where is it originally? I'll go back to there. If I'm in my Notion workspace, where is that piece of content? It is right here. So what'll happen is I've got the link here, and then under more properties, do I have the Canva link? Yes, I do. And I've got my ChatGPT link as well. Everything is tied together. And the reason that it's tied together is that when you organize your content, you can work faster, you can think better, you can repurpose things a lot better. You can see, this is how I produce content. I have a conversation in the back end. I put this in. I do the alt text. This is, anyone can do this. You can do this. Anyone can do this. But here's the thing. My value proposition to the market is that executives, senior executives, they don't have time to be doing this. They have time to be writing stuff, thinking about stuff, but they don't have time to put all this together. So when I'm competing against the AI bros and the content bros, I know for a fact that selling B2B, enterprise B2B, data, CRM, MarTech, that sort of stuff, because that's where I've come from, those sales cycles are really, really long. And I know that because I've been reading a lot of content recently. And the stuff that I've been reading, so here's one. I've been reading this book. I've also got a copy of that on Kindle. When it opens up, here it is. This is the newer version of it with 𝗤𝗓 so I have foundational concepts that I anchor my content into. So one is the 95-5. So that is 5% of the market are in market looking to buy at any one given time. 95% are not. That's from these people. These are thought leaders, researchers in marketing. The second is the concept of double jeopardy. And double jeopardy around B2C is all about two penalties that companies, smaller companies get. One is that their existing customer base will not give them more. So increasing loyalty and getting more revenue from existing customer base, it doesn't happen because they're an inherent risk. And that risk is that they're seen as they're being small. Why does that occur? Because the larger brands occupy a lot of the what they call mental availability, and that is just, imagine it's Dean Moon ship 30 for 30 versus Colin Dickey ship 30 for 30. Who are you going to go for? You're going to go to them because they're talking about, we built this empire, 8-figure business, blah, 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 blah. I'm not competing with that, but I'm kind of doing like a little mini version of that using their content. What I'm doing is I'm breaking down that little, so I can distill my content in that to then go to market. So from that perspective, you need to buy ship 30 for 30. But if I rebranded the whole thing and I create and recorded all their stuff and did, this is what it is, and use my, people would still go to ship 30 for 30. So that's what mental availability is, because they're marketing and they're marketing everywhere. They're on sponsored newsletters, they're doing paid, they're doing a whole bunch of things. They're doing stuff on YouTube, stuff like that. So when you feed your head with good stuff, you will write good stuff. And when you start writing good stuff and producing good stuff, you will then be able to repurpose that stuff. And then as you start to get more insight and as you start to learn the other aspects of what we're doing here, you will become an expert. And that takes time. So if you're tired, good, really good. One last thing. I said that I wanted to go to YouTube. So every time I do one of these videos, I record on Tele and I then download it. Here's some insight into what I'm looking at. And then obviously some of my kids stuff will pop up here, which I don't mind. I think it screws up the algorithm. So what happens is I go to my studio. Where is it? You can tell I'm an expert here. So what I do is I go here, I download the video, and you can see all the content that I've actually downloaded and uploaded. And some of it's public and some of it's unlisted. It's unlisted if it's a one-to-one private call. I've done some coaching. It's a paid client engagement. But if it's like this, I'm going to put it up because I want people to see it. I want to get my watch time up. I want to get monetized. I want to be on the program. So, but I'm not focusing specifically for YouTube. What I'm doing is I'm just getting the content up, trying to get eyeballs on, just trying to get watch time up, and then get more comfortable. Then you'll see that I've got these images here. This is relatively new because before I used to just send up these things here, just that, and that's not very pretty. So again, coming back to Canva, what you'll see here is that I've taken some of this content, I've repurposed it. So I go thumbnail, YouTube thumbnail, here we go. You'll see that rather than use the same image over and over again, I've started to just update the images over a period of time. But it just gives a bit of a theme. It's in line with who I am, what I'm doing, my style. It's distinctive. When you see my stuff, you know that, oh, that's Moonie. That's him. He's got that cartoony kind of look. There's a particular look and feel to it. And so this is the current one. This is the current look and feel. You can see that I've got different ones here. So pre-kickoff. So that was the introduction, the pre-kickoff, repurposing. There'll be another one. And then here in the notes, I'll have a link to the school where I actually posted it and then a short to the YouTube video. So that's a behind the scenes on me. I know it looks like a lot, but it's been a number of years to get to this point. It's hard work. It's not content for the sake of content. It's content for the sake of providing value. There's a lot of rubbish out there. There's a lot of crap. And, the bar is low. The bar is really, really low. So you just need to turn up with 5% more than what people are doing. So if you do that, you will get better. You'll improve your neuroplasticity. You'll start to see ideas all over the place. And you'll make friends. People will reach out to you. They'll pitch to you. They'll sell to you. It means that you're getting attention. That's signal. It's good. How you respond to that is up to you. So know that all of this is a journey, because when you first start, it will look something like, let me go back all the way to the beginning. it'll look like this. It'll be it'll be stuff like this, right? And if you're looking at my stuff and going like, oh, I'm not arty and I'm not this and that, like, neither was I. Like, I liked, I was into painting and art when I was in high school. I'm 48 this year, so that's like over 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So, you know, it's, you can teach an old dog new tricks as long as the dog wants to learn. And I'm an old dog. So, yeah, if you're tired, good, good. You should be tired. It means you're doing the work. But if you're not tired and you're bored and you're just like, oh, this thing doesn't work, that's fine, because I'll tell you this. I've done 5 or 6 of these sprints already. And I tell you what, the people that keep turning up, they're the ones that get better. Their copy gets better, their writing gets better. I'm not saying you have to join my sprints or these sprints to do it. I'm just saying that the people that turn up regularly, you see the change. You see the change. And so one last thing, just to close off. This is my landing page, my website. It's built on card. I did it all by myself, and it was horrible initially. It had executive ghostwriter here at the beginning. It was suggested to me that I needed to get something up, and I did. This still needs more work. I still need to have something where I can capture email details and stuff like that. But having said that, this is by and large so much better than what I had before. The copy has been reviewed and changed. It will change again. I was given feedback that it was just too serious, a bit too AI-ish. And so I went back and I changed it. But look, what's all this? This is all my content. These are the colors that I'm using. This is the logo that I created. If I want to build an agency that is distinctive and it's generating, I've got a goal. So the goal that I've got, it's ridiculous, but the goal that I had was that in 2 years from now, I'm doing $5 million net profit AED. 5 million net profit. So net profit would mean that it's a highly high margin business, and I'm bringing on a handful of clients and I'm charging quite a lot of money, and I've scaled it to a certain degree. I need something like this, and I need to be articulating quality, and I need to be articulating insight when they get to here. This is a widget that I've actually used. I think I need to learn how to do some HTML and CSS, because I don't like paying for like $2 a month for this accordion. I need to have a newsletter. That's where my thought leadership, that's where my deep insight will. I need to have a DIY product so that people can learn how to do the content. And that content will be updated consistently as I learn, because that's the value. And I'm even thinking maybe a book. But I'm a while away from that because I still am learning how to do this thing, and I need to get customers. And then eventually there'll be like a testimonial section here. But here's the thing. I'm a ghostwriter. And do clients want their logos on my... I don't know. Probably not. So having said that, I say I'm a ghostwriter, but like it's so much more than that, because it's lead generation, and my background is B2B sales, SaaS, a little bit of agency. And so it all comes together, but it comes together when you turn up and you do the work. And again, this video's gone for a little while, but just in response to comment, I'm tired, don't want to do the work. Good. It means that you're exactly where you need to be. And if you didn't feel like that, then you're not working hard enough, because ultimately you need to be stretched. And all of this is what will propel you to stand up head and shoulders above everybody else. And I'm not the best of like I'm 2 years into this thing, but I'm 20 years sales. So this is just a facet. This is just another quiver to the arrow. So with that said, day 16, day 17, what are we? What day are we up to? So that was yesterday. So I think we're day 16. So we're day 17. Day 17 for me. So not long to go now. We're just past halfway. Head up, keep writing, keep shipping, support each other. And guess what? It's fun. So anyway, have a great day. Speak to you soon. God bless.